All right, we are diving into the core ideas from James Clear's game-changing book, Atomic Habits. We're going to find out how incredibly small, almost invisible changes can lead to some truly remarkable results. Let's get into it.
So let's start with just one number that honestly explains the entire book. If you get just 1% better at something every single day, by the end of the year, you're not going to be 365% better. No, you'll be a staggering 37 times better. It's wild, right? That is the mind-bending tower of compounding, and it's the engine behind everything we're about to talk about.
Now, this isn't just some fun math problem. This is a real-world principle, and it completely transformed an entire sport, starting with the pretty unlikely story of British cycling, way back in 2003. For almost a century, calling British cycling mediocre would have been generous. They had only managed a single Olympic gold medal since 1908. Their performance was so consistently bad that one of Europe's top bike manufacturers actually refused to sell them bikes. They were afraid it would damage their brand if other pros saw the British team using their gear. Ouch.
But that all changed when a new performance director, a guy named Dave Brailsford, was hired. And he brought this simple but pretty radical philosophy with him: the aggregation of marginal gains. The whole idea was to break down absolutely everything that goes into riding a bike, and then just improve each tiny little piece by 1%.
And what's so incredible is just how far they took this hunt for that 1%. They started with the obvious stuff, redesigning bike seats to be more comfortable, rubbing alcohol on the tires for a little better grip. But then they went further, so much further. They were testing fabrics in a wind tunnel, and they even painted the inside of the team truck white. Why? So they could spot tiny bits of dust that might mess with the finely tuned bikes. Nothing was too small. So what happened? Well, the results were absolutely world-changing. In that decade, from 2007 to 2017, British cyclists won 178 world championships, and they captured 5 Tour de France titles. It's widely considered the most successful run in the history of cycling. This is what 1% looks like when you let it compound.
Okay, this all sounds amazing, right? But it kind of begs the question. If these small improvements are so powerful, why is it so hard for us to stick with them? Why do we give up so often?
We get discouraged because, let's be honest, we've all been there. You commit to a new habit, you put in the work for days, for weeks, and nothing. You look in the mirror and you don't see any change. We expect our progress to be linear, but the truth is, the results of our efforts are almost always delayed.
And this right here, this visual, it illustrates the problem perfectly. We think our progress should look like that line on the left, a nice, steady, predictable climb. But in reality, it almost always looks like the line on the right. There's this long, super frustrating flat part where it feels like you're going nowhere. Clear calls this gap the plateau of latent potential.
But here's the crucial thing you have to remember, that work isn't wasted. It's just being stored. Think about it like an ice cube in a room that's slowly heating up. The temperature goes from 25 degrees to 26 to 31, and nothing seems to happen. It's still a solid block of ice. But that 1 degree shift to 32, it unlocks this massive transformation. All that stored energy is released at once. Your habits work the exact same way.
So how do we push through that plateau and get to that breakthrough moment? Well, the book gives us a really simple but really powerful 4-step framework for making any habit actually stick.
These are the 4 laws of behavior change, and they work by basically hacking the fundamental feedback loop our brains use to learn pretty much anything: cue, craving, response, and reward. So if you can shape these 4 stages, you can design habits that you'll actually want to keep doing.
All right, let's get practical. We're going to break this down with one simple, actionable technique for each of these 4 laws that you can start using like today. Okay, first law, make it obvious. The trick here is to become the architect of your own environment. You probably don't need more willpower, you just need a better designed world. Look at this hospital cafeteria study. They didn't lecture anybody about health. They just put water in more places, and bam, water sales shot up and soda sales dropped. So if you want to read more, put a book on your pillow. You can't miss it. Second, make it attractive. It's simple. Our brains are more likely to do something if it seems appealing. A great way to do this is a technique called habit stacking. You just link a new habit you want to build with a current habit you already do. The formula is super simple. After my current habit, I will do my new habit. Like, after I make my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. Your coffee becomes the trigger, the anchor, for your new meditation practice. Number 3,
Make it easy. You have to fight that urge we all have to go too big, too soon. The 2-minute rule says that any new habit should take less than 2 minutes to do. So read before bed becomes read 1 page. Run 3 miles becomes put on my running shoes. See, the goal at the start isn't to achieve the big outcome. It's just to master the art of showing up. You can always build on it later.
And finally, make it satisfying. Our brains love immediate rewards. A perfect example of this is Jerry Seinfeld's productivity method. To stick to his goal of writing jokes every single day, he gets a big wall calendar. And for every day he writes, he puts a big red X over that day. After a few days, you've got a chain. And the goal becomes beautifully simple. Don't break the chain. That immediate satisfaction of seeing the chain grow is the reward that keeps you going.
So, when you put this whole 4-part framework together, it points to a much bigger idea, a really profound shift in mindset, focusing on your systems, not just your goals.
So what's the difference? Well, goals are about the results you want to achieve, winning the championship. But systems are about the processes that lead to those results, your daily practice routine. Here's the thing. Winners and losers often have the exact same goals. What separates them is their systems. A goal-first mindset also puts happiness on hold until you hit some future milestone. But a systems mindset lets you find satisfaction in the daily process.
And this right here is one of the most powerful lines in the entire book. It just perfectly captures this whole idea. Your commitment to the process is what really determines your progress. Think about it. Your outcomes are just a lagging measure of your habits. Your current weight is a lagging measure of your eating habits. Your knowledge is a lagging measure of your learning habits. It's the system that delivers the results, every time.
Ultimately, all of this leads to the deepest level of change there is, your identity. The real goal isn't just to read a book, it's to become a reader. The goal isn't to run a marathon, it's to become a runner. Because when your behavior and your identity are completely aligned, you're not even pursuing behavior change anymore. You are simply acting like the type of person you already believe you are.
This entire journey, from those little 1% improvements through the 4 laws, it all brings us to one single profound question. It's not, what do you want, but who do you want to become? Because every single action you take is like a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Every tiny habit, every 1% improvement, it isn't just about getting a result. It's about casting a vote for your future identity. And that, right there, is the true surprising power of atomic habits.